If you're going to freshen up an engine, especially one that has several 100,000 miles on it, you got to find a way to get parts clean.
Greetings, fellow DIYer, and welcome to my video.
I've been doing a lot of work on my 393 Windsor build series, and most of the parts going into that motor are brand new. So I'm not having to deal with dirty pistons and that kind of thing. But what I do have to deal with is on my Frankenstein EFI, these TBIs that I'm converting into throttle bodies. They're kind of grimy, they're kind of dirty, and there is some corrosion where the aluminum has oxidized a bit. If you spend any time perusing the internet, you will find all kinds of solutions for dipping your carburetor or your engine parts. Obviously, there is the traditional solvent that you buy at the auto parts store. Comes in a can, it's terribly caustic, it smells bad, and I'm trying to stay away from that. There's quite a few people that have done videos on Pine Sol. Now, I realize there's no label on this. This is not a marketing thing, or I haven't taken the label off for any other reason than the label was coming off and I didn't want it flopping around. People are taking their carburetors, they're stripping them down, they're soaking them for 2 or 3 days in Pine Sol, and then they're rinsing them off and the carburetors are looking fantastic. Now, maybe that's internet magic. Maybe it's more work than the person is letting on. I don't know. I've never tried it. Then one day I was visiting with my friend in Texas, the original Mustang Steve, and he was saying if you get a gallon jug of Purple Power and you cut the top off, he provided me with these pictures to show exactly how to cut it, you can drop 2 pistons into that gallon of cleaning solution, and after a day or two, when you pull them out, they look like brand new parts. Now, this Purple Power that I have right here, I purchased it from Amazon, and the jug is a slightly different configuration. It's not as wide, so I would not be able to put these pistons into this jug, but if you can find the style of jug that I've pictured, it'll hold 2 pistons, and you can use it to clean stuff up. A piston is aluminum, and if Purple Power works really well on a piston, I thought it might be a really good solution for my throttle bodies. I didn't really want to experiment with my throttle bodies because let's say something goes terribly wrong in this process. So I thought, I have a set of 8 pistons that came out of the 351. They're not parts that I'm probably going to reuse, so if something goes terribly wrong, no big deal. And I thought, let's do a shootout. Let's take 3 pistons, we'll put 1 in Purple Power, we will put 1 in Pine Sol, and the third one we will leave out as a control. So I will have something to compare these other 2 pistons to. All came out of the same motor, they're all basically the same amount of dirty, and this should give us a pretty good test. Once I know which solution I like better, that's what I'll use to clean my throttle bodies. Now, I have done some research on Purple Power, and one of the active ingredients in it is lye. And in strong concentrations, lye and aluminum do not mix. Even on the back of this, it does say be careful on aluminum. The biggest thing you can do to help avoid having issues between a cleaner like this and aluminum is not to apply heat. People that I've seen that have used Purple Power on things that are aluminum and have applied heat have actually etched their aluminum, and it ends up being a dark gray, closer to like a gunmetal gray color, as opposed to the nice bright aluminum that we are used to. In this particular case, I'm not heating either of these, so this is just going to be a straight A/B test. Mustang Steve is a master engine builder, and if he's been using this technique, I have no doubt that this Purple Power is going to work. I have not seen any videos where people are using Pine Sol to soak their motor parts other than carburetors. So I think this will be a really good test. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to put the pistons in these buckets. I'm going to pour each of the cleaning solutions, and then we're going to give them 24 hours. After that, I'm going to give everything a thorough rinse. Now, these buckets are not tall enough to completely submerge these parts in, but that's okay. Having that line, I think, is also going to give us an idea on how it's going to work, like showing the difference between an unsoaked part and a soaked part. Once they come out tomorrow, I will give everything a thorough rinse and we will do a comparison, and I will show you which one worked better, Pine Sol or the Purple Power, or maybe they'll work equally as good, and then it's just a matter of which one you prefer to use. Slide that down in there. Slide that down in there. I will say this, those chem dips that you can get for carburetors, they reek. Pine Sol, it's not an unpleasant smell. And I have no clue how this Purple Power smells. I've not used it before. I'm not getting much from it. Of course, right now, all I'm smelling is pine. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see which one of these worked better. Our test pistons have been soaking for 24 hours. This one in the Purple Power and this one in the Pine Sol. Of course, this one is our control to see where we started. I want to keep in mind that I live in the frozen north, and so over the last 24 hours, my garage was probably hovering right around 40 degrees. Obviously, temperature is going to have an effect on the cleaning ability of these dips, especially since the Purple Power, the guy that recommended it, lives in Texas. So I'm sure that his soak is probably 70, 80, 90 degrees, depending on when he's soaking it. After removing these from the solution, I rinsed them off in a bucket of water and hit them very, very lightly with a nylon brush. I don't want to emphasize enough that pretty much the cleaning you see here was from the soaking in the solution and not the action with the brush. I basically was just getting any loose crud off with the brush, nothing more. After I finish going over how these look after 24 hours, these are going back in the soak for another 24 hours to see how that affects things overall. First thing I want to point out is that both solutions seem to have cleaned the pistons very well. A lot of the crud that was on the pistons, both of them looked very much like this. As you can see, the faces are a whole lot cleaner. The Purple Power, however, did what I was kind of concerned that it might do, and that is it etched the aluminum ever so slightly. You look at this one, there is a nice sheen to it. Of course, part of that's because it's oily. But this one here that's soaked in the Pine Sol also has that nice sheen. But this one is definitely kind of flat. And if you look down in the cracks where I didn't get with a brush as much, there's kind of a chalky white substance, which is typical of oxidized aluminum. So the fact that the Purple Power has some lye in it and it resulted in a little bit of etching and some chalky material, that's of a little bit of concern. Now, as I said before, the original Mustang Steve is a master engine builder, and this was his technique. And so I have zero concern that the little bit of chalkiness and the color in the finish is going to affect its functionality. I know he's used this technique, and I know that it has worked well for him. If we look at it, you can see right where the line was, where this top half was hanging out of the dipping solution. And it is definitely cleaner in the connecting rod than it is on the top half, but not as clean as the Pine Sol. If I hold it up, we can see bare steel colored right there. And so I really got to give it to the Pine Sol. I am super impressed. I totally expected the Purple Power to win out, but this Pine Sol trick seems to be working pretty well. As I said, we're going to throw these back in the dip, give them another 24 hours, and we'll see tomorrow if anything has changed. So the results are in. We've given 48 hours soak for the Purple Power and the Pine Sol, and now let's take a look at some results. First of all, as I said at the 24-hour mark, both of these appear to be an excellent solvent for cleaning engine parts and to be used as a soak. Second, as I mentioned before, the Purple Power does etch aluminum where the Pine Sol does not. I'm not seeing any pitting or any major change to this other than the fact that it is no longer shiny and it is a little bit darker color. So it's not like this has significantly eaten into this and changed its dimensions or anything like that. I do want to point out that it is definitely eating the aluminum a little bit. You can tell this because of the bubbles. After I inserted this into the Purple Power, especially the second time, when there was no longer a protective coating of oil and buildup on this piston, there was a lot of bubbles being created, and it actually caused the solution to foam up a bit. I did not have that at all with the Pine Sol. If we look at the connecting rod, you can see it's kind of nice. There, where the edge of the fluid was, you can see a very clear line. So I can totally see where this would be a fantastic way to get this steel totally cleaned up and ready to go. Now, I do know that temperature would probably make a huge difference here. Like I said, Steve's garage is probably 70 degrees year-round, if not hotter. My garage, way colder than that, and heat is definitely going to be a factor. Also, agitation is going to help. This is cleaner at the top than it was at the bottom, and I think that has to do with the bubbles coming off, moving the solution around. So that's the result of the Purple Power. Now the Pine Sol. As you can see, there is a significant color change there. Everything is a lot cleaner. Now, it would take more soaking, more scrubbing. I'm thinking a sonic cleaner and the Pine Sol would be a fantastic way to go. I have one of those. That's going to be a future video. But overall, I think that did almost as good a job. Now, if you look right there on the piston, there's a section where there is still some buildup, and that did not come loose, where I don't have that at all with the Purple Power. But there is no etching to the aluminum. That is still nice and shiny. It is just as it was when it came out. In other words, if we compare it to this uncleaned one, exactly the same as far as texture and overall color, as opposed to this guy that is definitely etched. Ultimately, if I'm going to be doing something with aluminum on it, especially something that is going to be visible, like the bodies for my Frankenstein EFI, the Pine Sol gets the win. If I'm going to be doing something that's steel, I think I might give the edge to the Purple Power. But I don't know that it would be my first choice for aluminum. Again, I'm not saying that I think the Purple Power damaged this piston, but I definitely think it has the potential to. I talked to Steve about this, and he said that cast aluminum tends to turn this gray color compared to like forged aluminum. He also said that you can dilute the Purple Power to a solution of 50% Purple Power, 50% water, and that is still a highly effective solution for cleaning engine parts. My favorite thing about both of these is that they smell a whole lot better than your commercially available engine part cleaning solutions. I like the fact that they are relatively environmentally friendly, and I'm thankful that I have both of these options at my disposal.
If you like what you've seen, please click like. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.